Well, the regular season has come to a close. It's playoff time in the NFL, and you all know what that means. You know, it's become a bit of a tradition on this channel. It's time to break down the NFL playoffs here on Keeping Score. You already know the cast. I'm Theodore Fernandez, Team Money, because the picks are always straight cash right next to me. Ella, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but you might have picked up a little weight since our last show.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but that's why I'm Big Daddy.
Big Daddy, this is Mr. Mark. Ella could not make it today, and we are very excited to have probably a better replacement than Ella to begin with, if we're being honest. But I'm excited to see what he brings to the show. The other two you guys will actually know. M-Dog?
I'm very excited because we might have somebody here who actually has worse picks than me. We'll see.
The sole representative of our dog pound this show. There we go. A little more enthusiastic when we have two people, but we'll live with it.
Yes.
And, you know, can't have a pick show without the Candyman.
Theo, thank you. Big Daddy, welcome. M-Dog, pleasure to see you. Yes, who's going to make the best picks? The Candyman.
We will see about that. Not going to hate on you quite yet, but we're going to get into our picks momentarily. Before that, though, we're going to have a little icebreaker, as we like to do on this channel. We're going to let you start, Mr. Mark. What team would have been dangerous had they made the playoffs?
Well, you know, got to represent those Lions. They were going into the season hot. They ended up with their first winning season in a long time. And when I heard other teams talking, they didn't want to face those Lions. Great offense, great quarterback, great defense. I'm going to actually put it out there. Super Bowl winners 2024.
Super Bowl champion Detroit Lions. That is a phrase nobody has probably ever said in the history of talking. However, you know, look, Dan Campbell's here, ready to bite some kneecaps. Jared Goff has been balling. Jamal Williams, maybe superstar running back. We'll talk about the Lions some more. But M-Dog, who is your team?
Well, let me tell you something right now. I'm going to stay true to form. If you had to face them next week, you'd be scared of them. You would be. I'm going to stay true to form. The Broncos. I mean, come on, guys. It's the Broncos. I talked again to the Mile High Prophet. Listen, since they fired their head coach, all right, they won 2 straight games, I believe it was, and then they just won last week. They scored 31 points. They beat the playoff-bound Chargers, and believe me, I don't think the Chargers would want to play them again in the playoffs. So I think it would really be the Broncos, but in all seriousness, obviously they're not good. We're picking teams that are good that would be dangerous. So honestly, I was impressed, with the Packers. I think if the Packers had gotten another shot, you never know with Aaron Rodgers. You never know. So my dangerous team that didn't make the playoffs, that could have rocked the boat next week or this week now would be the Packers.
You had me ready to explode on you there. Is the Mile High Prophet still alive? Like, did he survive this season?
Well, yet to be determined.
Okay. We'll see if he comes back next season. Green Bay Packers, interesting pick. Handyman, what do you say about that?
Nobody's going with the Jets, Jets. Good defense. No quarterback?
No one's going with them.
Nobody's going with them?
No.
Sounds like you are.
For fun, I like to pick different teams, but I have to concur with Big Daddy over here. Detroit, 5 games this year, they lost by 4 points or less. They almost beat Buffalo on Thanksgiving. I think they got a good thing going there. Just in some side conversation, I just discovered that, is that true? That, Barry Sanders' season's single record for touchdowns as a Lion went down?
Yep, Jamal Williams
That's
broke
amazing, yeah. And I do love when people spoil a Green Bay season as well. I'm not a big Aaron Rodgers guy. I want him to retire. I want him to go to Jeopardy. I think he's kind of a baby, He probably doesn't want to go to OTAs. He's old.
Listen, I don't like him either, but
Hey, Lions were spoilers.
So,
Yeah?
Born and raised in South Detroit.
I do feel...
Don't stop believing.
There you go. I do feel like, when you get to week 16 and 17 in the NFL, all the teams are kind of clicking on all cylinders. They kind of have nothing to lose. Mm-hmm. Even the Texans, I think, won in week 17. Yep. So, but I kind of agree with Mr. Mark here. Big Daddy! Detroit! Predicting to win next year. Bold prediction. I like the prediction. Maybe it's not that bold. So, yeah, I have to agree with you.
Yeah, look, Detroit was one of those teams surging down the stretch. Another team that was the Pittsburgh Steelers. I picked them as my surprise team preseason. We did our report card a couple weeks ago, and you guys ripped on me for that. But look at the way they finished the year. They're 9-8. Mike Tomlin still has not had a losing season. And look, no coach in the league, arguably, at this point, is a better preparer, just on a week-to-week basis than Mike Tomlin is. I think he would have absolutely had them ready to take on whatever team, most likely the Buffalo Bills it would have been, and that could have been a dangerous match for Buffalo. They should be really grateful. Pittsburgh did not make it.
I think
they avoided a losing season, so I think Tomlin kept his streak going of winning season. He was in jeopardy of having that streak broken. Right?
They started, I believe, 2-7.
Yeah.
And, they completely recovered from that.
In week 17, Najee Harris looked like beast mode.
Yeah.
And he had that fumble last week, but he's literally carrying the team. And they played well. And, I think the casual NFL fan just assumes the Steelers are going to make the playoffs every year, because even Ben's last year, they kind of crawled in.
Yeah.
It was kind of a surprise. And just kind of a household name, the Steelers. Not quite America's team, but almost America's team.
Yeah. We'll get to America's real team, which, again, should not be called that. But we'll get to them in a minute. And now, we're going to stop talking about the non-playoff teams. We'll get to the 14 squads that actually did make the field. Starting off, Seahawks 49ers, you see right here. We got our Jets helmet on set, signed by Geno Smith. Geno Smith entered the season a joke. He was a Pro Bowl quarterback this year and led Seattle to the playoffs. Mr. Mark, can he lead them to a playoff win?
You know what? You can't get to the win without scoring points, and you're going against the Niners defense, so I don't think they're going to make it. I'm going to pick the Niners because defense is defense, and you know what? If you can't score a point, you can't win a game.
M-Dog?
I'm going to have to agree. I think the 49ers have enough firepower there where they'll have more firepower than Seattle. They got a good tight end, a good mix of running backs and receivers there, and I think they can put together enough points to win.
Candy, what do you have to say?
Side note, this Geno Smith helmet was given to me by one Dennis O'Connor. Mr. O'Connor, to you students out there. Yes, he said, I'm a season ticket holder. I didn't like the way this guy played. You can give this to your son, Jack. Yes, we do it. We give it here on loan here to the set. I think Geno Smith will be the comeback player of the year. I don't think they have enough firepower. I mean, the 49ers they traded for McCaffrey, Deebo Samuels. He got hurt, but now he's back. Ayuk, Nick Bosa, great defensive player. I mean, Kyle Shanahan. I think they can win the Super Bowl. Don't tell my wife that, but I think they could win the Super Bowl. I think they're a very hot, trending team right now, and just the Seahawks had a great season. Geno will be comeback player of the year. I'll say it again, but I just don't think they have enough really to beat the 49ers.
I think you should give that helmet to the next quarterback of the Jets, whoever starts next year.
Oh.
I have a small head, and this helmet fits my head. It's kind of crazy. So Geno's has a small head?
Maybe.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't think you should give it to Geno, Zach Wilson, or whoever they come up with.
I might be Derek Carr.
Derek Carr. Could be Lamar.
Could be
It could
Lamar.
be
Derek
Derek
Carr
Carr,
would look good with that helmet on.
I could see it, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Look, guys, I hate to do this. I hate, being boring, but the Niners, I feel like, are going to win this game. We got a clean sweep here. You got to wonder, Brock Purdy, 7th-round pick, can he handle it? I think he can do enough to not throw the game away. And I think top to bottom, if you take quarterback out of the equation for every team, the Niners have the best squad, hands down, and they are a legitimate Super Bowl threat. So,
And they now have Mr.
All in favor.
Irrelevant becoming relevant.
yes.
Yes.
Brock Purdy, great story. He was really good at Iowa State. I thought he didn't get quite the respect he deserves, but no one really expected him to be anything in the NFL. So this is a very cool story, if you ask me. Okay, we're going to move on to our next matchup now, though. And M-Dog, we're going to let you take this away. We talk about surprise teams this year. The Jaguars might have been the most surprising of all. They're hosting a playoff game against the Chargers. Can they win it?
I think the Jags can. All right, we're going to ride that wave. They pulled it out recently, and I'm just going to ride that wave. I feel the home team. I think it might be their time to get one of the biggest victories in their franchise history. I mean, they've been to the championship game before.
Yep.
All right, but not recently. So I think they're due. I think they're due with a good young quarterback, and hopefully that builds his confidence. And they're a good team moving forward. Hopefully too.
Yeah, they made it a couple years under Coughlin. They had that shocking run.
Coughlin,
yeah, Tom Coughlin. That's
Back
a name.
in the day.
Haven't heard in a while. They had that shocking run in 2017 with that Saxonville defense.
That's right.
And I don't think anyone expected them to be back this soon. Katie, man, what do you think about that?
I like Trevor Lawrence. I'm a fan of Trevor Lawrence. I think he's been playing hurt all year, and he won like 7 games in a row towards the end. But I don't like the way they're trending. I thought the defense won the game. He threw a couple of picks. last week. I mean, they did win to get into the playoffs. When you have to play and win to get in, and you do that, that's super impressive. I like their tight end Ingram. I just think their luck is going to run out. I think the Chargers are trending up. I mean, Justin Herbert was hurt earlier in the year. He's not quite an elite quarterback. I think he has the potential to be an elite quarterback. I love Eckler, fantasy gold, and Keenan Allen, and hopefully their defense can be on the upswing. I think they're a team that people are underlooking.
You know who they lost to last week, though, right?
They lost to the
Broncos.
That's right.
Just saying.
Yeah. The Chargers are it's a little strange situation too. They're playing in L.A., sharing stadium with the Rams. The San Diego Supercharger fan base, they're kind of like the forgotten about, unlovable team right now.
And that's
I'm going to throw them some
the
love.
Giants, Jets, playing in the same stadium.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
We got real fan bases.
Yeah, but they've been in New York for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, real fan. Exactly. And the fan base
It's
is kind
tough
of,
out there.
and they have the best unis in the league by far.
Oh, the Chargers, no doubt. Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, I love the uniforms. I think that makes a lot of people support the Chargers, even if they don't love their players. The Chargers, believe it or not, were my AFC champion pick preseason. I'm not going to stand by that, though. I think the Jags have been just firing on all cylinders, really. The defense is very, very good. I think they'll give Justin Herbert fits all game, and the offense does enough to put them in a position to win, so give me the Jags to move on. Big Daddy, close us out. What's your pick?
I have to agree with everybody else on the panel. I'm going to go with the Jags, too. I like Trevor Lawrence. I think he's young and he wants to win, so I think that's going to carry the team forward. I think that's what's going to make it happen.
Look, the fact that we're in a position where we're picking the Jaguars to win a playoff game in 2022, absolutely absurd. Shout out to them.
Everything's upside
It's like
down.
we're going to be picking the Jets to win a playoff game next year in 2023.
That will not happen.
And I just saw something online yesterday. It was the anniversary of Super Bowl III victory. Yeah, 1969. So I texted some friends and they said, hey, the next time that happens, Miami might be underwater. Yeah, because they did win in the Orange Bowl. Let's hope, let's hope none of us will be alive to see
We
that.
were supposed to go to Miami this year when you picked them earlier on.
Yeah. What
You
happened
looked
to
like
that
you
trip?
knew what you were
They
doing
made the
at
playoffs.
first.
They made the playoffs.
That is a perfect transition because we're getting into that matchup right now. Miami, look, they started out the year incredible on a tear. Then, we had some concussion stuff with Tua. He's not going to play. Skylar Thompson, 7th round pick, just like Brock Purdy, starting this game. They're heading into Buffalo, a team that's motivated after the DeMar Hamlin situation. M-Dog, you start off. Does Miami have any chance in this game?
Tua, unfortunately, has disappointed a lot of people. I had him on my fantasy team as my backup. My first quarterback on my fantasy team was Russell Wilson. But then, you know what? I thought Tua, all right, could take care of me, and he was going to. And he was taking care of the Dolphins for the first half of the year. So, unfortunately, Tua's not starting. There's no way you can pick Miami if without Tua going up against the Bills. But this is messing me up, man. The whole thing's messing me up because my earlier bold prediction in one of the previous shows was Buffalo would lose their first playoff game.
Yeah.
The Eagles would lose their first playoff games, which I'm going to stand by the way, but we'll talk about that at another point in time. But, I would have stuck by my prediction, but Buffalo should win. It might be one of the bigger upsets if they do lose against a Tua-less team. So we go Buffalo.
All right, Big Daddy, we'll move over to you now. What do you have to say about this?
I'm going to have to go with Buffalo, too. Josh Allen, quarterback. He was my fantasy quarterback. Again, got to look at the leader. I think that with him and all of his offensive weapons, they're going to take the game away. So it's going to be a great game.
Candyman, are we coming for more?
Both AFC East matchups between Miami and Buffalo are close games.
Yeah.
They split. I think they both decided by a field goal. I think if Tua is in, then they have a shot at winning, but he's not. I think they're going to their third-string rookie. Coach done a great job there. He's not even 40 years old. But their luck's going to run out. Buffalo's got so much momentum with rallying behind DeMar Hamlin and Hines having those 2 returns next week. Buffalo's feeling that they have a shot at the Super Bowl. I kind of feel like they think it's their year, but they don't want to talk about it. And the magic is there. If they lose, it will be a shame for them. Miami's had a good run, but it ends in Orchard Park this week.
Look, The Dolphins put up 9 points last week against the Jets. You know, in a must-win game, they did enough to win just because the Jets' offense is equally as dysfunctional right now.
Can I side note really quick?
Yeah, side note.
Keith Hernandez went to that game as a Jet fan
Okay.
and met up with Wally Joyner, both great 80s first basemen. The last time those two saw each other in person, 1986, the All-Star game. Just wanted to note that.
That is an excellent story. I'm surprised I haven't.
Does that
heard
help
anything.
Miami at all?
Yeah, like
With some
maybe that.
good juju or something like that. It's possible.
I guess Wally Joyner lives in Florida
Crazier
now,
things have
and he's a
happened.
Dolphin fan? I don't know.
Interesting.
Don't know.
I had not heard that story at all, so that's actually a very interesting tidbit. Point being, though, Bills will win this
Wally
game.
Joyner?
Wally
What
Joyner.
the?
Did not think we'd be
Keith
talking
Hernandez.
about Wally Joyner or Keith Hernandez on this show. That's
I
the
am-
beauty of keeping score, right? You never know
I
what's
am
gonna
not
happen.
Keith Hernandez.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
You're positive?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we might have Keith Hernandez on the show right now.
I might be.
Get him on.
Keith
Let's invite him on. He's a big football fan. He loves the MAC. He loves MAC Mid-American Conference football.
Action's great, you know, when they
Buffalo.
play the games, when they used to play the games, you know, on Tuesday nights.
Yeah,
That
the
was
election
fun.
night sometimes.
Yeah. They stopped doing that this year, and
Yeah.
very disappointing to me.
It's a shame.
Okay, anyway, though, you know, we've been skirting around it all show. No mention this team, but the New York Football Giants are in the playoffs. You see me rocking the Saquon jersey. We got the hat and the Giants plaid shirt from M-Dog. We're
Official.
in the
Official.
playoffs.
Oh, wow. I didn't
Very
logo
nice.
on that.
Very nice.
And we have what many are saying is a very winnable matchup. We're taking on Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota, Candyman. Well, you start this off. Can Danny Dimes and company pull through?
I know you guys are going to want to throw me out of the studio, but I think the Vikings win.
We will throw you out.
It's going to be a great game. Dable's done a great job in year one, and his message is getting across, and I think the Giants are buying into the culture. Obviously, they're buying into the culture. I mean, they're starting their second string against the Eagles on offense last week, and they almost win the game. I just think the Vikings are too talented. Do I think it'll be a close game? Yes. I just Jefferson, is a stud. It's all about Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is so up and down. I mean, I remember I had him playing in fantasy one week against the Colts. I didn't start him. It was a playoff round too. And I said, thank the good Lord I didn't start Kirk Cousins. And then he comes back in the third quarter, 30-something points, 4 touchdowns, scores like 30 on fan. I'm like, you can't rely on Kirk Cousins.
You cannot.
And that's the scary thing. But I just think they're too talented. I do want the Giants to win for you guys and the greater New York fan base. I'm a Jet fan, not a Giant hater. But I just think the Vikings will pull this one out.
The two teams played on Christmas Eve this season, and the Giants nearly won this game. You know, I watched the whole game. I think we outplayed Minnesota. We had some drops. We had a Danny Dimes interception. We had, I believe, like a tipped punt, too. A lot of stuff went wrong for us, and we still nearly won it. You guys know what I'm going to say. Of course, we are going to win this football game. Danny Dimes' first career playoff win. Same with Brian Dable, Saquon Barkley, and so many players on this team. I'm excited for this one. Now, Big Daddy, we're going to move over to you. Because your Detroit Lions, if I'm not mistaken, beat both these teams in the regular season.
They did. That is part of their wins this year.
I'm assuming the Lions would beat both these teams, right?
I would probably say yes,
Yeah.
but if I was going to pick between the two, I'm going to go with Big Blue. I'm going to say the Giants are going to win this game. Saquon, he's been on fire, and I think he wants to win. I think he wants to kind of move the team into the next phase of the playoffs. So we will see what he does.
And M-Dog, I wonder who you're going to
I guess it's my turn. Now, I don't know what to say here, because I'm never right, Listen, I talk a lot. All I'm going to do is just say one word, and that's it, because I just don't know what to say. You know what I want, right? I'm just going to say one word, Giants. That's it.
Giants. That's all we need to hear. Also, I'm going to make the safe assumption that Ella, if she were here, would absolutely be picking the Giants. I think we all know that.
Of course.
We might have her on later throughout this playoff run, but for now, sticking with this cast, and we're going to move through the picks. Ravens made it in the playoffs this year after a late season collapse, held them out the year before. So they're back, but they're without Lamar Jackson. Starting QB Anthony Brown was undrafted. So believe it or not, 2 7th-round QBs plus an undrafted rookie are starting games this year in the playoffs. Can he defeat Joe Burrow and the Bengals? If you ask me, no. I'm very high on Cincy. I rode them all the way to the Super Bowl last year in my channel debut when I was nailing all the picks. Joe Burrow really helped me out there. So I'm going to stick with him. I'm going to repay the confidence that I've had in him and roll with Cincy to win this game. Big Daddy, what about you?
I'm going to go with Cincinnati, too. They did a nice job at the end, very classy. I'm going to go with them. So, yep.
All right, M-Dog, what are you going to say about this?
All right, well, listen, I was talking to you before we went live. You know, what's the huge upset?
Yeah.
I mean, huge upset. You know, Jaguars, Chargers, it could go either way. You know, I mean, a lot of these games could go either way with different little things going on. So I'm going to go out on a huge limb here, all right? And I'm never right anyway. I like the Bengals. I'm going to somehow say the Ravens, all right?
Okay.
For my good friend Jeff Angel, who's from Baltimore. Jeff, I love you, man. I got to call you up and tell you that I predicted this one. I'm going with the Ravens because this is the one that we're going to turn off the set, or we're going to turn on the set, and we're going to be like, holy moly, I can't believe the Bengals are losing here. I'm just going to go Ravens.
We will certainly give you all the credit in the world if you do nail this pick.
No risk, no reward.
Are you going to back him up?
Well, Big Daddy is sitting in the seat of Ella, who in the beginning of the year predicted the Bengals would be the biggest, most disappointing
Yes,
team.
she did.
Yeah, Super Bowl hangover. Yes, they did start off slow, but they got Jamar Chase, Mixon's clicking on all cylinders, Joey Burrow. I think what people are not talking about is that the Bills and the Bengals, that cancellation game, you know, DeMar Hamlin is fine, everything is good. It kind of gave them a bye, and now they're fresh. And they're wanting to play. They're wanting to return to normalcy. That was a very unprecedented event. And in that game, I turned to my wife, she's a big Bills fan, I said, this team looks on fire and awesome right now. This is going to be a really tough game to win before that unfortunate accident happened. Yeah. But they're ready to go. I just, you know, I'd like to see an upset too. You know, it'd be nice if the Ravens won, but the Bengals, they're just clicking on all cylinders. Great shot at making the AFC Championship and the Super Bowl again.
Yeah, look, it would be a cool story if Anthony Brown could lead this upset. He was a very good QB at Oregon. He has shown that he has been capable at times, but yeah, I just can't see this upset happening. So that's 5 matchups down. We have just 1 to go. This is going to be the Monday night game next week. Very interesting to see a Monday night playoff game, if you ask me. And they chose a big-time matchup, at least on paper, for this game. Dallas Cowboys heading to Tampa Bay to take on the GOAT Tom Brady and his squad. Big Daddy, you start out, give it to me. What's your pick?
Sentimental favorite. You know what? Tom Brady, he's the GOAT. You know, he's a little bit on the older side. You know, he's missing, you know, his favorite tight end, but Mike Evans went on fire that last game, so I think that with all the players working on all four cylinders and Tom Brady being Tom Brady, he's going to pull it out. He's going to bring them to their next win.
All right, Brady's career is going to continue. This would be another illustrious win if he could pull it off. M-Dog, can he?
Well, Dallas hasn't been looking that great lately. They've got some issues. Dak making some mistakes here and there. I think Brady's got a little bit left in his tank. You're going to like that. I remember hearing Brady from your mouth earlier in the year. So I think it's the Bucs. I think Brady's going to quiet the naysayers, you know, all the things that have been said this year about his relationship and his temper and all that stuff. He's going to keep it calm enough to eke out maybe a couple victories here in the playoffs.
Look,
maybe even 4 victories.
Maybe some foreshadowing there.
I don't know.
You can never count out Tom Brady, that's for sure. Candyman, can he beat the Cowboys?
Well, there's this fan of Dallas from the 90s. His name is Mark Miller. And he's got some choice words for the Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas is going down!
So, I don't like Tom Brady. I don't like Dak Prescott because he was my fantasy quarterback, did nothing for me. I had to go to waiver wire a lot. Yeah. And Dallas, all this hype all the time. I mean, Mr. Meyer, M-Dog and Big Daddy, we grew up with the Great Wall of Dallas and Emmitt Smith and Alvin Harper and Troy and Michael Irvin and these studs, you know, and they just couldn't lose. But that ship has sailed. I kind of feel bad for Tony Romo. He was on some good teams with Des Bryant.
Yeah.
The football move call was an awful call.
I don't think he caught it.
Oh, he caught it.
I don't think he caught
Just
it.
wasn't a touchdown. He caught
I think
it.
Dallas has got some
That
kind
was
of
8 years ago, by the way.
goat curse or something.
They have some
Maybe.
goat curse. Yeah.
Something's going on, you know.
I mean, like Tony
They should be
Romo
winning.
has broke most of Troy Aikman's passing records, though.
Yeah.
And just has no playoff luck. Troy's a great quarterback. He had great talent around him. I just can't count on Dallas. I don't like Tom Brady. I do like Todd Bowles. I think he's a great defensive coach, and he finally got a head coaching gig. He was a former Jet coach. I love that. I do think Tampa Bay is trending up at the right time. Chris Godwin's finally turning on a little bit. Leonard Fournette's been a little absent since the beginning of the year. Mike Evans and Tom are finally clicking. They were having difficulty
that's right.
doing that. Excuse me, I'm going to go with the Bucs. I don't want to. I'm not a big Tom Brady guy, not a big Dallas guy. I just think the Bucs are the team that are going to win.
Dak Prescott has thrown an interception now in 7 straight games, leads the league in picks despite the fact that he missed a whole 5 games this season. He's not a good quarterback, plain and simple.
He is
not.
watch right now.
And he is going to be absolutely exposed by Tom Brady and the Bucs. Look, they're missing some pieces on the offensive line, especially. Dallas could put some pressure on Brady. It won't matter. The GOAT will not lose in the first round. We're not going to see that happen this year. Brady pulls through to get his team to the second round. I've had them as my Super Bowl pick preseason. Do I still agree with that? No, of course not, because the New York Giants will go all the way. End of story. But look, Tom Brady will always be a threat in the playoffs, that's for sure. Okay, look, this was a very good show, I thought. I had a lot of fun talking football with you. We're going to give you all one final chance to make a final statement, anything you want to say. So, M-Dog, take it away. What do you want to say for now?
I think I've said enough. I think I've gone out on a limb on these picks, my picks, and hopefully you won't have the opportunity to make too much fun of me next week. So we'll see. Let's go Giants.
Yeah. Glad
That's
we're in
it.
agreement.
First playoff game in a while, and we're going to get another victory. You know when the last Giant playoff victory was, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super Bowl
yeah.
46. You know, that playoff run, the first football, I remember watching. You know, I started watching us like late that season. I was 6 years old. Watched us all throughout that Super Bowl trip, and I've been disappointed for the 10 years since. So I'm glad we're back in the playoffs to make some noise. Big Daddy, we'll go to you now. What do you have to say for yourself?
Thanks for having me, number one. So,
Yeah.
but
Great to have you on.
yes, it's been a great show. Again, I'm just going to go back to my original prediction for next year.
Okay.
Lions, five picks in the first round this year for the draft. So, if the team's good now, just wait until you see them in 2024.
We going to take a trip to Detroit?
We are. We
Detroit.
will. Detroit Lions,
Ford
baby.
Field.
That's right, Ford Field.
Usually home of the MAC championships.
Detroit, Rock City.
That's right.
So you went from a trip to Miami to a trip from Detroit.
Oh, man.
Hey, you know
We
what?
gotta- oh, yeah, that's right. We're
Detroit.
supposed to go
I
to
can't
Miami.
complain when I got quarterbacks like Russell Wilson and Tua on my fantasy team. I'll go anywhere.
You'll take anything. You'll go to Detroit. Okay. That says a lot about you. Can't even. What about you?
This guy.
My prediction is a boomer prediction.
Okay.
Not a boomer Esiason prediction.
Okay.
Not a David Wells prediction. Chris Berman boomer. And in the 90s on ESPN, I'm going to look him right into the camera. The Buffalo Bills always circle the wagons. Super Bowl this year, Niners, Bills, both those teams were great in the 90s, but that Super Bowl never happened. I can see that happen, and I'm going to stick with my prediction earlier in the year, when we did this show, that the Bills win the Super Bowl.
Bills win the Super Bowl. Okay. I've said practically all offseason and all throughout this year that the Bills would not win a playoff game. We said they will now because of the whole Dolphins thing. But they will lose the first time they face a real opponent. They will lose in the divisional round, most likely playing against Joe Burrow and Cincy. I stand by that. And, look.
This guy, you should have been alive during Super Bowl 25.
Yeah.
Bills-Giants rivalry started.
That went.
It's kind of dead.
Kick went wide.
It could have. What about a Bills-Giants Super Bowl? Would you want to see that?
Super Bowl. Yeah, I'd watch that. I'd watch us destroy
Watch that a little
Buffalo.
bit. A little bit.
That'd be tough. It'd be tough to watch.
Yeah.
Two New York teams,
Same
most of
colors?
us, all of us like them. I mean, we don't hate any of both either of
true.
those teams.
That'd
That'd
be
be tough
fun
to
game.
watch. Of course, I'd be rooting for Big Blue, but
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I just got to go with Buffalo. So,
No.
it's just one of
Detroit,
those things.
Buffalo, kind of like the
Yeah,
gateway
right,
to Midwestern
exactly.
cities.
tell you
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
Route 90, a little
Detroit-style
bit of Route 90,
pizza.
You know, and you make fun of me for going to Detroit. Listen, I've been to every state in the country. All right,
Really?
and I stop everywhere, so I am not ashamed to go into Detroit, Denver, Miami. I'll go to Buffalo. I'll go wherever. With you, T Money. With you.
Hey, I've been to Detroit as well. I've been to Detroit. It was honestly, it was nice. place. I had fun there. Went to the Ford Motor Factory,
Nice.
saw their stuff, saw the stadium.
Yep.
It was a fun trip, fun city, and hope their football team as well. But for now, this is going to be the year we see a true power emerge in the NFC. The New York Giants will rise to the top. We'll be back next week to break down all the action, including their win over the Vikings. You don't go anywhere. Stay tuned on this channel. A lot of sports coverage coming your way in the coming weeks. For my great cast, I think we had a lot of fun. I'm Team Money, wishing you all a good night.